Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Total Football Talk. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm Keith, I'm the host of this little channel, and we're going to look at all the latest news coming out of Manchester United. And as always, there is plenty of it, and this is my third attempt at this thing. I've had two failed attempts so far, so please bear with me, guys. We're going to look at Rubin Amorim and his take on Rasmus Højlund, and what he thinks of the striker situation. We're also going to look at Christopher Vivell's so-called new position but old position in the company with Manchester United and where he sits in the grand scheme of things. We're also going to look at a story about Darwin Nunez. We're going to look at Victor Osimhen. We're going to look at another story coming out that Rafael Leão is being linked with Manchester United. What do we all think of that? Please get your comments in below. Any of those players turn you on? Any of those players, do you find them that they are players that you would like to see come to Manchester United? I'll have my take on it. We'll look at what Simon Stone is talking about Manchester United as well. We'll also look at the other story is Rubin Amorim's take on the current situation at Manchester United with the cost cuts. And that is it. And obviously there's a little bit coming out about Erik ten Hag. I'll maybe just start with the Erik ten Hag stuff. So obviously Erik ten Hag's just done an interview. He's talking about players of the modern era unable to take criticism. And I think that is a problem with the culture of Manchester United. These players are maybe sort of given too much and they're not able to take criticism, whether it's from the manager, maybe there's, social media criticism, the media criticism. Players back in the day needed to have thicker skin, and I just think it gives an idea of kind of what managers are having to deal with in the modern era, in particular Manchester United, how players are struggling to deal with, everything that surrounds them and the club, and they just maybe need to dig a bit deeper into themselves and not let some of the stuff affect them on the field. Because in Manchester United's case, it clearly is. But, speaking of things being affected, Rubin Amorim has come out and said this. I think it's clear that we are, as a team, not helping Rasmus. We don't create a lot of chances. We have a lack of threat up front. And sometimes in the final third, you don't feel like we are very dangerous. But you also feel when we're defending low, and sometimes the opponents are not afraid of our transition. So I have this feeling also to the coaches that we're not helping the strikers enough. So I think Rubin Amorim's clearly identified that Manchester United don't create enough chances from their supply line, whether it be their wingers, whether it be their fullbacks, whether it be their tens. So Bruno takes a lot of shots, doesn't create as much as people would give him credit for. I think at times he does, but then there's plenty of times when he could, I think, slip someone in and he decides to go for a ridiculous worldly. So Bruno's got to get better at it. The wingers have got to put crosses in. Dogru's doing it on the left, which is great. Dallow's got to start doing it on the right. Ahmad was getting a little bit greedy towards the end, but the kid is, a fantastic player and we do miss him. But and we also need Garnacho, who is slowly starting to put crosses in. So I think Ruben Amorim has addressed the problem. He appreciates that there's a good striker in Rasmus, as in he knows he's got all the kind of raw qualities to be a really good player. But, we're just not giving him the service. I do think Rasmus has to work on certain elements of his game, but he's a 22-year-old, I think, 21, 22. Long way to go for the kid, and he's dealing with a lot of pressures that are up front. We've had this problem in the past. Cavani didn't get many chances. Ronaldo didn't get many chances. They scored a few more, I think, because of their experience and their ability to carve out something from nothing, which I don't think we have that ability in the team at the minute. Rasmus hasn't got the confidence to do it, so actually he's not that type of player. Obi Martin is a 17-year-old. He's got a long way to go before we can even start thinking about him being relied on, because he's a kid and deserves a lot more time to be bedded into the team properly. So get your thoughts in. What do you think of Ruben's comments on Rasmus? I mean, and do you agree? Do you think it's the supply line, or do you think it's Rasmus, or do you think it's both? Love to hear from you guys. Okay, we're going to rattle through this in 10 minutes. I'm going to try and do it as quickly as possible. So next up, the story on Christopher Vivell as the director of recruitment on a full-time basis following his interim spell in this position. The fresh agreement will include a reduced salary, which underlies his desire and commitment to occupy a key role in the Ineos-led rebuild for United on a prolonged period. Now, obviously, Christopher Vivell has come in. He's earmarked potential young players for the club. This is his area of expertise. He's done a brilliant job in the past, at PSG. He's so far with United. Seka Koni's probably one player that we haven't seen a lot of yet. I've seen him in the reserves or in the under 21s. Kid's got a lot of potential. Let's hope that he can kind of carry on his progression there and make it into the first team and kind of show us what we have there. But yeah, so I think this is a good appointment, but this still doesn't deflect from the fact that we let Dan Ashworth go. We obviously aren't going to replace him. Vivell's going to try and replace it to a certain degree with the younger players recruitment, but I still don't know who's going to look after the other side of it. Cost cutting measures, and obviously he's doing it at a reduced fee, which is again typical of the ownership at the minute. Everything is cutbacks. Okay, so we'll move on to the next story, and this one's hilarious. Darwin Nunez to Manchester United. Guys, please, if you have any thoughts in, drop them in below. Get your comments in. Let me know what you're thinking. Darwin Nunez, what do you think? I think he is a bundle of energy. I think he's a guy who gets into great positions. I think but he's also someone who couldn't finish his dinner. He's awful in front of net, in front of goal. Misses too many big chances for me. Maybe he will turn around. He is still quite young as well. Maybe Ruben in a long shot could find a way to help, get his ratio of goals up, but I don't know. We'll just have to see on that one. For me, it's a no on Darwin Nunez. For me, it's more, let's look at Victor Osimhen, and we'll look at Victor Osimhen next. So Victor Osimhen's moved to Manchester United, 95% complete. This is what we were talking about yesterday, and we were going to pay the €75 million release clause. So Victor Osimhen apparently does want to join Manchester United, and looks like he's on his way this summer, and we could finally have a proper striker on our hands. So Victor Osimhen, guys, mentioned it before, hot topic. Him and Quenda are the two that look likely mostly to sign for Manchester United. Quenda, yes, but he's a young player. My fear on Osimhen is I don't know whether he's going to make it or not, only because he's in his prime. And does he want to come and join our project? I don't know, because he is putting himself sort of out there at the minute. And he may want to go somewhere else, I think, if we don't qualify for Europe. So that is a lot of pressure on our team to get into European competition to be able to draw him, I think, at this stage of his career. And then we'll move on to Rafael Leão, which is apparently Manchester United have an interest in, and so do Man City and Al Hilal this summer, according to fictitious football. Now, Rafael Leão, for me, very good player. Don't know if he would suit Manchester United, though. I don't know if he's got the ability to get up and down the wing quick enough. He is powerful and he is skillful, and he will score the odd goal, but his goal scoring output isn't great with AC Milan. So for me, I wouldn't take him. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's a great player, and I actually don't know if he's good enough fit. I don't know if he's got the energy and the fitness to be able to get up and down on a wing, or maybe he could play as an interesting 10. Maybe that's where his role would be, as a 10, and he could actually fit into the role quite well. He does create, he is powerful, and he does have the odd goal in him. But interesting one. Let's see if anything comes from that. But again, they'd want a big fee, and I don't know where we're getting this money from. And we'll look at what Rubin Amorim talked about on the kind of latest redundancies. And he said, we have to address all the problems in the club. One important piece is how we get into this situation. There's a lot to do with the lack of success of this team. We are the engine of the club, and I want to improve the team and have success. Now, they're obviously, Ruben is fully aware that Manchester United have to be successful on the pitch, and that will lead to success off the pitch, and that would lead to potential redundancies not taking place. Now, in some ways that is true. There's a small element to that. The other one is the servicing of the debt, which is the biggest problem that Manchester United have. And this is what Simon Stone has said. And this is part of the problem that we have. Manchester United are currently facing the possibility of a 20 million reduction in prize money so far this season, dropping to 15th from 8th last year, which in many inside the club think it's unacceptable. Outside the club too, we think it's also unacceptable. Each place in the table is worth approximately 3 million as part of the domestic and overseas TV distribution. Now, so this is where we're going to have less prize money, so less money to buy Rafael Leão or whoever. We're going to have less, Victor Osimhen. We need to get into one of those European competitions. We're not going to do it through the league. We have to win a cup. We have to win a cup, and a lot of pressure on Rubin Amorim to get that cup across the line. For me, it's the Europa League. Concentrate on that. I think the Premier League one's probably hard. The FA Cup's probably harder to win because of the teams that are still left in it. And you need a lucky draw, but we can need to win one of those competitions and give us the opportunity to be able to bring players in, because if we aren't in Europe yet, the draw Manchester United and the wages, even in previous years, has been enough to make sure players come. it might be slightly different now because we're on a decline. Yes, we've got a new manager, but my God, there's a lot of rebuilding to do at this club. So guys, that's your wrap up, your 10 minutes. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel. If you're enjoying it, I'd love a like, please, would really help me out. Little subscribe, bottom right hand side of the corner of the screen. If you could hit that, that would be fantastic. Drop your comments in below, let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks guys. See you soon.